So we're going to do Could You Be Loved by Bob Marley. And it's an interesting song. It has a few different things in it. The chords are all pretty simple. And the only thing, there is like a single note part. And it uses some palm muting, which is a technique that I don't know if we've gone over yet. But we will. And, excuse me. And the arrangement is a little bit different. Just meaning how the parts go. So instead of something where it's like a chorus and a verse and maybe a bridge, and they're all exactly the same, on this, one of the verses is one thing, and then the other verse adds an extra measure in. So that's a little bit weird. And then there's sort of verse and a chorus. There's the intro that's a little different than all the rest of the song. And then there's a what I call a B minor thing. It's just sort of another part, and it just sort of stays on one chord for quite a while. Then it happens again at the end, but it just kind of keeps going, and I think it has like some different lyrics and things. So it's just kind of a little bit weird. I'm guessing that the band, when they recorded this, were all together in the studio, because it's just a little bit odd that some of the counting is weird, like one extra measure on one verse and things like that. So I have to imagine that they were just all playing and looking at each other, and then, you know, maybe Bob Marley would like start singing the next part, and they'd go, oh, okay, we're now at the chorus or something. Sort of without any regard, without really actually counting strict 8 measures, 8 measures, 8 measures kind of thing like that. But anyway, so the very beginning has a little palm muted thing, and the song is in, it's either in B minor or D major. I kind of almost want to say B minor because it seems to kind of focus on that a little more, but the chorus is definitely in D. So, but anyway, so the little beginning is that little kind of thing. Excuse me. So what it is it's the second fret on the A string, which is of course the note B. You should know all this. So B, then a C sharp, which is the fourth note, fourth fret, and then D. So B, C sharp, D. And those are the first 3 notes of a B minor scale. So that's where the B minor kind of comes in. And the beginning underneath the is a B minor chord. So the little single note thing, okay, it happens 4 times. Then the band comes in, and it happens 2 more times. Okay, so there's a little bit of the sort of slightly odd, like, okay, so that comes out to 6 times. You know, slightly odd, it's 4 and then 2. In both of them, 4 and 2 are both okay, because 2 is half of 4, so it all kind of fits together in the same family of 4s. But then the 4 and the 2 together come up with 6, so that's a little bit weird. But the single note thing is palm muted. Okay, so if you listen to the song, listen to that beginning, it sounds kind of like clicky, you know, kind of. that sort of clicky clicky, okay, it's a little bit hard to do on ukulele. It should be a guitar, and it should actually be lower. But we don't have a lower B than that. Okay, it actually should be the B that's lower than this C here. But what are you going to do? So, the palm muting though, okay, with your right hand, okay, your picking hand, okay, and I definitely would suggest using a pick for this, because you definitely get that, you know, clicky sound from the pick. Okay, but this part of your hand, okay, kind of like you're gonna, you know, chop the edge of the strings, the bridge, okay, right at the very end of the strings. So you sort of like that, okay? And then you pick. So hear how it has that sort of clicky sound instead of, if I take my hand off of it, hear how now that comes out. So you want to be on the strings. It's a little tricky, okay, because you want to be on the strings enough that you get that kind of muted, clicky kind of sound, but you still want the notes to come out. So if I'm too far on the strings, okay, then I'm going, I'm just getting click, I'm not getting, hear how that has that little bit of, the note comes out a little bit, instead of, that just clicks. Okay, hopefully you can hear the difference. So, too far on, and you're getting no note and just clicks. Too far off, and you're getting all note, no clicks. So, you have to kind of figure out exactly where to put your hand. Okay, and then you pick. So 4 times, okay? In the rhythm of it, we could count out the rhythm and do that, but that's going to be like a long, complicated procedure to do that and explain it and go through it and count it. So I think it's easier if you just listen to it, okay? So, you know, the rhythm is like, so okay, it's easier if you just listen and play it. So it would be, I'm not palm muted enough. So so those da 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 at the end of that are, I'm doing it as up picking. So like in I think the last lesson actually, the last song we did, we talked about how I like to down up. It keeps a nice rhythm going. Okay, so I'm actually playing that as like. Okay, but it's really whatever works best for you, okay, and listening to the song and copying what you're hearing is a huge part of playing an instrument, okay, because the other option is somebody like me or somebody, a book or whatever, just tells you exactly what to do and you just copy it. You're not really learning how to play music, you're just learning how to kind of copy something that happens to be music. But anyway, so that's the intro. So it does that 4 times, okay, then does twice with the band. Okay, and that's when the actual B minor would come in. Okay, and on this, I definitely want to do downs and ups, okay, because I'm hearing that it goes like, so I'm doing click, okay, by just slightly lifting my fingers off, okay, so that's with my fingers down, so watch how I just lift, just slightly up. Can you see how that slightly moved? So that's down, that's up, down, up. So I'm not lifting off the strings, because lifting off the strings, you're going to get that. I just lift my fingers up so that get that little click sound. Okay, so then what I'm going to play for the whole song, the picking rhythm is down, okay, then push the chord down with your fretting hand, left hand, and then up, and then lift your fingers off again. So hopefully you can see this hand sort of okay, so that's the rhythm for the whole song. Okay, so with that being said, excuse me, let's get into the chords and all the parts of the song. All right, it starts with the chorus. Okay, a lot of Bob Marley songs seem to do that. And it's not a terrible thing, because the chorus is usually quite catchy. But anyway, so it's a D chord, 2 2 2 0, B minor, G, and then D again. Okay, so it begins and ends on D, and that's why I said a few minutes ago, it seems like it could be in the key of D, because the D happens here, it starts and ends on D, so that sort of makes you think, well, it must be in the key of D. But then all the verses, the intro, the outro, everything is all the B minor. So then, you start to think, well, it seems very B minor. But anyway, it's a nice way to do things. When I write some things, I like to do that too, because it makes the verse and the chorus really sound completely different. It sounds like they're almost in two different keys, which kind of they are. But the chorus being D major is kind of nice and happy and uplifting, while the verses, and in this case the intro and the outro, in B minor sounds a little sadder. You hear it better if I play the chords like, say, G major and then G minor, because then you can really hear the difference. So G major, then G minor. Okay, so hopefully you can really hear how the G minor sounds kind of sadder, or not quite as happy. Happy, sad. That was kind of silly. So anyway, the chorus, so the D lasts for 4 beats, 1 measure. The B minor, 1 measure. The G, 1 measure. And then the D again, 1 measure. So just be very careful that you end on the D for 1 measure, and then start on the D again, so it's another measure. Okay, so the whole thing actually ends up being D for 1 measure, B minor for 1 measure, G for 1 measure, D for 1 measure, D again for 1 measure, so it's really 2 measures of D in the middle there. Then B minor, G, and then D again for a measure. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I didn't confuse you. So, the chorus, the D, B minor, G, D, D again, B minor, G, D. And that's that. So that's the chorus. Excuse me. And the chorus pops up a couple more times. So now the verse. Okay, the verse is now B minor, like I had mentioned. Okay, but now it's 2 measures, or 8 beats. Okay, so then it goes to E minor for 2 measures. B minor again. E minor again. 2 measures still. B minor, 2 measures. Now it goes to G for 2 beats, so half a measure. F sharp minor for 2, E minor for 4. Then B minor for 8 again. G, F sharp minor, now A for 4. Okay, so a little bit unusual, but you know, it works, it's fine. So B minor for 2, E minor for 2. Then repeat that, B minor for 2, E minor for 2. Then B minor for 2 measures. Then G for half a measure, F sharp minor for half a measure. So that makes up 1 measure. Then E minor for 1 measure. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So you end up with, you know what, let's count it out. Okay, so B minor for 2 measures. E minor for 2 measures. B minor again for 2 measures. E minor again for 2 measures. Okay, so that comes out to 8. So 4 and 4 is 8, so that's all good. Okay, then B minor for 2 measures. G for a half and F sharp minor for half. And E minor for 1 measure. I almost said 4. 4 beats, 1 measure. Then B minor for 2. G and F sharp minor together makes 1. And then A for 1 measure. So again, comes out to 8. Good. Then we have the chorus. And again. Then there's a thing that I just call a B minor thing. Sort of, I guess, similar to the intro, because the intro was just B minor also. But there's lyrics over it and all that stuff. So it's B minor. Okay, so if you were kind of paying attention to the B minor I just played, you may have noticed that I played it for 2 measures. Okay, so if we think of this as 2 measure groupings, it is 6 times through the 2 measure B minor group. So 6 again is a little bit odd. Okay, but not a problem. We can count to 6. And the B minor, 2 measures each, sort of like bit of lyrics, I guess. So it comes out to actually 12 measures. Okay, which is a little bit weird. 4 or 8 or 16 would be a little more usual, but not a problem. So the B minor for 12 measures. Okay, 12 is a big number to try to count, so I try to think of it, like I said a couple minutes ago, excuse me, as two measure groupings, then we only have to worry about counting to 6. Okay, so 1, so this would be the first. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so do you see how that's a little bit easier? Okay, but what it necessitates, what you need to do is understand how to play not only 4 beats, but 8 beats, 2 pairs, 2 measures, 2 groups of 4. Okay, so you have to just get a feel for that, because you can't really go like 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 1, 2, because you're gonna get mixed up. Okay, it's easier just to be able to go and know that this is 8. That was 8. Okay, I could talk while I was doing it, because sort of in the back of my head, I know that that's 8. It's a feel thing. But it's a good thing to get a feel for. Okay. So now, after that 12 measures or 6 groups of 2 measures of the B minor, now we get to the next verse. Excuse me. And the next verse is the same as the first verse, with an extra measure of A thrown in. Don't know why. But it is. So I'm going to play through the verse, okay, and feel free to play along. Okay, so it's B minor for 2 measures. Okay, it's just like the first verse. E minor, B minor, E minor, B minor, G, F sharp minor, E minor, B minor, G, F sharp minor, A again. When you play along with the song, you'll see what I'm talking about. It all makes sense. Then we get the chorus, and it's exactly the same. I'm sorry, I played a G first, didn't I? Yeah, I did. The chorus starts on a D. Then again. So now we're at the outro. Okay, and the outro is B minor. All the way. So we don't really need to count. It's still good to have a feel for not only the, 1, 2, 3, 4, but I missed the third, the and after the third strum up, but you know what I mean. Not only that, but also have a feel for the groupings of 2 measures, because a lot of the lyrics are groups of 2 measures. Okay, so what ends up happening is you're playing, and as long as you're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then start over 1 and 2, and you're playing is going to sound like it belongs in the song. Okay? So you don't want to just go, you know, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And you have no idea where you are. And, you know, I don't know what beats what. I'm just going down, up, down, up, down, up until I'm done. You could do that at this point because it is just B minor all the way through. But the problem is it's not really going to sound right. Okay? Because when you're actually thinking, counting, or just sort of feeling like you should get to, I usually just feel the 4 beats and then the 2 measure sort of phrases, your playing comes out sounding like that. And it's really a tiny, tiny, tiny thing, but there is a bit of feel there that you really should start to sort of work on. Everybody should. Okay, so the B minor thing to fade is just the B minor over and over. So 1. That was 2 measures, now 2 measures again. 2 measures again. 2 measures again. So what ends up, I guess a better way to explain it is if you're thinking in 2 measure sort of phrases, when you get to the start again, you're going to kind of go a little extra because that's the beginning again in your head. And that helps it really sound like music. So that is the whole song. Not too difficult. Just a little bit with the counting a little bit, some 6s thrown in and an extra measure of the A, stuff like that. But it's all still all in 4 beats per measure, so everything is nice and easy. A couple spots where it's 2. Okay, but even there, 2 plus 2 plus 4 still comes out to 8, which is 2 measure sort of grouping. So it's all good. It's all good stuff. Then, if you listen to it all the way through, this little, you know, those little things. I was thinking, you know, that would be a nice little thing to work on, and we could do that. But then if you listen, there are spots in the song where it's not there. There are spots where it is there. There are spots where it changes. Like the outro especially, it just sort of kind of goes, you know. With a little change. That, and then it just kind of stays on the B note, and then there's some spots where it goes and a couple of spots I think where it goes something like that. So there's lots of little bits and there's no real good pattern, so we would end up with, like, if we figured it out, it would be almost like, okay, you play this repeated 4 times, but then you play this, and then you play this twice, and then you play this 3 times, and then you do this 4 times again, and then, so it's just all slight variations. It's a little bit of a pain, but I think just the intro is good. If you wanted to, you could certainly go through. And then there's parts where, like in the verse, and then it goes like the G, F sharp, E, the notes there, where it's just playing the root notes. and things like that, and it goes to the A. Yeah, we didn't have a low enough A, so we would have to be that A there. There. Certainly what I just played was more than enough if you wanted to figure out some of those bits and things. It's pretty simple. Just keep in mind that it is using the B minor scale or D major. Yeah, it would be 1 fret lower. But nonetheless, I think the chords in the little intro is more than enough to keep you busy. So there you are.